Hello everybody, it's raining and it's pouring, but it's not going to stop us. I welcome you to Jim's 5 a.m. Club, coming to you from the beautiful Sydney Harbour. I'm just below the harbour bridge on this wet day. And let's just give you a bit of a pan around. I've got an umbrella up, so we're going to be pretty well dry. Let's have a look through our peeping hole, our looking hole. And as you can see, it's a lovely view of the Opera House with that river cat coming through. Anyway, let's change up the format today, and we'll do a volta, the Legumini volta. When I was growing up, I used to absolutely love going on voltas, which are just small journeys where we walk and talk. So let's just try that format for today, because it's a little bit difficult holding the umbrella. So what I'd love to do today is take you on a journey from the Harbour Bridge through Campbell's Cove and on to Circular Quay, and chat as we're going. So what I'd love to chat to you about today is a real story from my past. When I was a young boy, my parents, just like many migrant families, my parents had a milk bar in Kingsgrove, and they worked 7 days a week. So family holidays were a rarity. I don't even remember going on family holidays with my parents. There may have been just one or two occasions, but I was very fortunate that my mother's sister, Auntie Frida, used to go on holidays every year to a place down south, a place called St George's Basin. And they'd normally stay there for 6 weeks. So they'd rent out a house, a beach house, and spend 6 weeks down there during summer, enjoying fishing, prawning, swimming, and basically just reading. My Auntie Frida loved doing her crosswords, and it was just a lovely way to holiday in the old times there in Australia. Our parents, or my parents, they worked 7 days a week, from 7 in the morning till about 10 o'clock at night. So as you can imagine, they'd be very tired. But so I looked forward to getting away with my auntie, my cousin, and on the weekend my Uncle George would come down. Would drive down because the shops would close, especially in the shopping centres. He had a shop in a shopping centre, and the shops closed at 12 o'clock on Saturdays. So he'd come down after work and come back on Sunday night. So I remember on one particular occasion he came down, and we had a boat down there. It was a small tinny with a 6 horsepower engine on the back. It was either a Yamaha or an Evinrude, I forget, but my auntie and cousin would probably remind me when they see this video. And what we used to do is we used to fish with a baragadi, with a long line, which is about 150, 200 metres of thick line, and every metre or so there'd be a loop with a trace and a hook. So we'd probably have about 100 hooks on this long line. So my Uncle George came down, and what he wanted to do was to go out and set the baragadi. We used to set it out at night and then go back in the morning and pick it up. So on this occasion I went out with my Uncle George, just the two of us. It was late in the afternoon on the Saturday, so we went out and we set the baragadi. So my Uncle George would be letting out the line, he'd be hooking the baits, and I'd be passing the baits to him. I was about 12 years old, 12 years of age, so a young boy, young for those days, whereas these days 12-year-old boys are a lot more mature. And just as we were finishing setting the paragadi, a southerly started to develop and the waves started to build. And for those who know St George's Basin well, it's a shallow waterway, so when the waves build there, they build very, very peaky, and their frequency is very, very narrow. So you get very, very high waves and lots of waves happening very, very quickly. My Uncle George looked up and he noticed the immediate change in the weather conditions, where it whipped up very, very quickly, and he knew that we were in danger. And I distinctly remember him, you know, he was licking his lips, his eyes were wide open, very, very wide open, as he was paying attention and trying to work out what we're going to do. So he fired up the engine and he told me, Jimmy, we're in danger, it's going to be a very, very rough ride back. I want you to sit in the middle of the seat, in the tinny, so in the middle seat, sit in the middle, hold this rope with one hand, and with the other hand I want you to hold the gunnel or the side of the boat, and just hold on for your life, so you don't get tossed out. I'm going to drive the boat, I'm going to guide the boat over the waves, not directly over them, but at an angle, so we don't tip. But he said that if for any reason the boat flips, he said immediately swim away from the boat so you don't get trapped underneath it, and then do whatever you can to swim back and grab the boat from on top and just hang on for dear life until somebody comes to save us or save you, or the boat drifts and comes back to land somewhere. So it was indeed a very rough ride. The waves were smashing over the front of the tinny. My face was being sprayed, and he says, just keep your hands on the rope and on the gunnel. Don't worry about the water on your face. Make sure you don't get thrown into the water. But he said that if he gets thrown into the water, or if the boat tips, not to go searching for him, but to save my own life. So for a young boy, a 12-year-old boy or 11-year-old boy when I was then, it was a very, very interesting moment in my life. But what I can recall was the fact that my Uncle George was able to clearly articulate that we're in danger and give me a plan in terms of what to do under the different circumstances, made the situation a very, very powerful learning opportunity for me, and basically a defining moment in my life where I entered manhood at a very young age, so to speak. Look, the good news is that we made it through the waves, we made it back to shore, but it was a very, very trying time. But for me, I was experiencing leadership in action. The fact that I had somebody clearly articulate, as I said before, and map out a game plan was very liberating. How do we use this for young people? Make sure that when you have people or others in your responsibility, you take responsibility for them and you map out a plan for them. So, for example, if you're going to the Easter show with young children, remind the young children that if anybody is separated or gets lost, to stay where they are and will come back to look for you. Or if somebody gets lost, pre-arrange a meeting point where we come back and find each other. No, young people respond well to threats and dangers as long as they have an action plan and a map of what to do. Anyway, that's my story, and it's a wonderful story for me, as my Uncle George was a very adventurous sort of person. He loved excitement, and I think whoever spent time with him learnt a lot from him about many different topics. He was an alpha sort of male, not necessarily from a physical perspective, but from an intellectual perspective. He was very well-rounded and very worldly. So let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great. And to all our friends and family, stay well, stay connected, and stay relevant. And to live life at your fullest, and to know there are times where there will be risks, there will be dangers that you're going to engage, but to also understand that with courage, with vision, and with the right accountability and responsibility, you have what it takes to get through it, and make sure that you also embolden the people around you and give them clear instructions in terms of what your expectations are and what they need to do in order to save themselves first, and not to worry and also not to feel guilty if they survive something or they get through it and the others around them aren't that fortunate. Anyway, take care, and until tomorrow at Jim's 5 a.m. club, I'll come to you from another magical location. Looks like it'll be raining for a while, but it's not going to stop me from coming into the city or going to the beachside and bringing you the wonderful sounds and views of this beautiful country. Ciao and bye for now.